Accessibility benefits everyone. Digital accessibility is making websites, apps, or other digital elements accessible to everyone, regardless of any impairments that they may have. Making changes and improvements to your website accessibility will optimize the experience for everyone, and there will be benefits not only to users and website visitors, but also your business through an increased usability, a higher engagement and conversion rate, and the potential for increased discoverability in search engines. There are some simple changes that we can start implementing that will make huge improvements to the accessibility of your website or app. Remember, digital accessibility isn't only something that affects those who are disabled. Digital accessibility features and design considerations positively impact all users. Making your website, app, or tool more accessible makes it easier for everyone. There are some easy to address design and UX choices that, once you implement, will improve website accessibility and functionality for all users. One of the first steps towards a more accessible website is choosing a color contrast and site palette that works well together. Don't use bright colors on bright backgrounds, like yellow text on a white background, for example. Not only is this difficult for those who are visually impaired, but it will also be a challenge for all website visitors to read. Try to also consider how easy things are to see in poor lighting conditions or if a screen were to be in direct sunlight. To go a step further, you could consider offering support for users to choose their own contrast between text and the background. Another step towards a more inclusive and accessible experience that you could implement today is making copy and text simpler. Don't use complicated or unnecessarily long words in your on-screen text. Not only is this difficult for those with cognitive or learning disabilities, but also for those with a lower literacy rate. It's also worth noting that people will take away key messages and stay engaged for longer if the information that you share is easier to read and absorb. If you also use video, you need to also provide closed captions. This is something that's now sometimes auto-generated, but in cases where it's not, it needs to be included. Captions are vital for those with auditory disabilities, but are widely used by everyone. If someone's watching your videos where they can't listen to the sound, on public transport for example, they can still enjoy your video and take away the key messages. It's also useful for those who speak English as a second language or the elderly whose hearing is deteriorating. You should also ensure you develop keyboard navigation. This is important for those who can't use a mouse or rely on keyboards for navigation, but also is a useful quality of life improvement for those who prefer keyboard shortcuts. Finally, you should also review your site structure and calls to action. Having a site structure that's easy to navigate and has been correctly formatted using logical headings makes it easy for the visually impaired to identify important details on a page, and will also make it easier for everyone to scan and identify key areas and topics. Calls to action that are larger and stand out more are easier to identify and are likely to receive more clicks. You should also consider the calls to action that are used. Using words in place of a symbol or abbreviation will make it clearer what the outcome will be as a result of clicking. Another accessibility feature to note around calls to action is that buttons should be highlighted when hovering over them to make it clear when using keyboard navigation that a button has been reached on the page. Some of the most basic changes you could make to your website or app could make it better for all users, which could lead to improved engagement rates and potentially more conversions as well. So it's definitely worth investing in. Improving digital accessibility has an impact on SEO. When implementing on-page SEO and even technical SEO, there are several points where SEO and accessibility intersect. The more opportunities you have to expand on the content of your site and clearly signpost what your website is about, the more this will benefit users and the more this will benefit your website being recognized as being relevant and being prioritized in search results. In other words, the more fields you can complete, the clearer it will be to users and search engines how relevant and useful your site is. There are several things that you can do with an SEO focus that will improve website accessibility support that will also have a positive impact on the rank of your web pages in search engines. The first thing you can do is improve and optimize the overall user experience of your website. You want your website to be as easy as possible to navigate without users having to think twice about what they're doing. From an SEO perspective, Google ranks pages with faster loading times that are optimized for mobile with quality content. Next, optimized title tags make it easier for people scanning search engine results pages to quickly and easily identify what's on a web page. Title tags are a vital component of SEO. Through correct implementation of SEO techniques, your website will be discovered for the keywords that you've identified as being important to your business. Your overall site structure also plays a very important role in navigation, not only for users, but also for robots and spiders that crawl your website. By having a clear site structure, following a clearly established site hierarchy with the correct use of header tags, all users will be able to easily navigate your website. Anyone who may have visual impairments or cognitive limitations or difficulties can quickly identify the most important parts of a page. What's more, those users who need to use a screen reader can use header tags to jump around quickly to find the part of the page that's important to them. Alt text for content is another accessibility feature that has long been used to help improve a site's SEO. The option to include alt text is an accessibility feature and allows SEOs to describe what's in an image. This can be keyword rich for SEO purposes, but should first and foremost be written for the user to clearly and accurately describe what's in the content. By using keywords in alt text, you can further highlight the relevance of your page to robots and spiders around your given keyword to improve the chances of your web page ranking in search engine results pages. You should also give attention to the way that you use anchor text on your pages. Anchor text being the text that you use to link to another page, be it internal or another page that's external to your website. The text that you use will be highlighted by users using keyboard navigation, and the text used will give them confidence in where a click will take them. Anchor text will also be used when a site is crawled to better understand the content that's on the site. Another thing you should do is provide transcripts for any video content you have on your website for those who require text in place of audio. From an SEO perspective, videos can't be crawled by spiders, so having a transcript is vital to getting the full context of the video's content to be indexed by search engines. It's common practice to put a transcript alongside a standalone video blog post for this very reason. You should also avoid using drop-down menus that require clicks to navigate to other parts of the website. Not only are spiders unable to navigate drop-down menus, but screen readers also can't do this. Best practice says that you should have as few navigations as possible on your site. Another standard SEO practice is uploading sitemaps to better help robots understand site structure and navigate pages so that they can clearly and correctly be indexed by search engines. Some users with visual impairments will choose to navigate websites by their sitemaps, as they find it easier to navigate the entire website when all pages are clearly listed. Finally, using a schema markup for your web page is another way to improve accessibility support that will have a positive impact on SEO. A schema markup is a way of creating more detailed listings in Google and presenting complex information to the end user in a formulaic and easy to interpret way. A schema markup is important for screen readers when reading and interpreting the information on a more complex website, such as an e-commerce website or websites with dynamic content. They're also important for users to identify relevant information in search results to help them answer their search query. In terms of SEO, Schema helps to contextualize complex information to highlight its relevance to crawlers. If you have access to the back end of your website, you have direct control over making changes to the vast majority of the points just highlighted, and can start to make improvements to accessibility of your website. There are so many reasons to try and improve digital accessibility. It benefits users who need assistance to use your website, and also benefits your business through improved discoverability by search engines. Your business can benefit when you make improvements to accessibility, as well as knowing that you're helping the internet to be more inclusive for those who may be currently less able to participate. We need to work together to make the World Wide Web inclusive and provide the best experiences possible where we can. The internet is for everyone and should benefit everyone.